Horizon Zero Dawn is the wet dream of every prepubescent kid. It has robot dinosaurs, the two things everyone is insane about from the age of 3 till about the age of 99, as evidenced by the great sales numbers of this game. Horizon is set in a beautiful, lush open world with amazing graphics, great animations, and impressive voice acting, and all of those things you would hear about in review. But today, I want to talk to you about Horizon's user interfaces and interaction design. The first piece of UI is the screen you're greeted with when you start up the game. It's a pretty standard start screen with a menu and the landscape to feast your eyes upon, but what's worth pointing out is the impressive logo type in the middle of the screen. At Guerrilla Studios, they've crafted this unique typeface that perfectly displays both sides of the game's world, the futuristic machines and the prehistoric tribal people. The straight lines and hard edges broken up in various unusual places are similar to the typefaces used in sci-fi games and movies such as No Man's Sky or Rival. They have an alien symbol feeling to them while maintaining readability to us normal people. And on the other end, the logo type is built in a style reminiscent of cave paintings with heavily textured white paint that looks as if it was dried up and developed cracks over time, perfectly blending the two distinct themes of the game and priming the player's expectations. Going ahead, we can see this loading screen. It works most of the cases, but when you're fast traveling long distances in the game, you will be looking at it for quite some time, so it could have used something else than plain text in the middle. For example, some visuals about the robots you've discovered already, or potions you can craft, or traps you can craft, etc. Displaying visuals instead of or alongside text in situations like this can alleviate cognitive load. What I mean by that is that it's easier to look at a robot and being told attack here instead of having to read a few sentences. Once you're in the game, you have a HUD displayed mostly around the edges of the screen. Most of it is standard stuff that is very well executed though. It's visually cohesive, using standardized typeface to display text, and iconography that fits into the tribal painting aesthetic of the game. The illustrators have done a good job with this for the HUD. The elements are successful in communicating exactly what they need to communicate. There are two elements of the HUD though that I want to point out. One is the health bar and the innovation they've introduced in this system. You have a standard red health bar that tells you when you're at full health and when you need to heal yourself. But below that, they've added a green bar for your medicinal plants. Now, you can deplete this green bar to fill up your health. What I like about this system is that it uses a very familiar visual language. It's like pouring water from one cup to another. The users can immediately understand what's going on. The other interesting bit is the quick select menu in the bottom left corner. Even though its layout looks like a standard console hotbar, where you would use the D-pad to select the icon corresponding to that direction, Horizon mixes up the formula here. The top element, which is used to heal yourself, depleting the medicine bar, is static and you can't change it, while the middle three elements are an infinite loop of all of your items, including potions, traps, calling your mount, throwing rocks, and whistling. Now, if someone would have pitched this to me, I would have been excited to try it out, as in theory it enables you not to worry about your consumables just too much. But in practice, I found that more often than not, I was scrambling to find a health potion while on the brink of death, just to find out that I had none. Now, I've been playing games since I was 3, and I can pull off running towards the camera and scrolling through this menu at the same time, but I'm not sure the average gamer is accustomed to that. Moving on, there's the weapon/ammo selection/ammo crafting screen. Whenever you want to do the above actions, you press R1, time slows down, and the game world blurs out Doom 2016 style. This is great, as it doesn't take you out of the action when you want to change strategies. But there's one quirk that I just couldn't come to terms with. When you are out of a type of ammo, the icon is red for that slot. Standard stuff, red equals bad. Now, as you replenish ammo, the icon turns white and the text saying craft stays white as well. But as soon as you replenish all of your ammo, the text turns red. I can't even count the times I thought, what am I doing wrong here? Well, nothing, I've just filled my ammo capacity. I think the way this could have been communicated is to reward the player for crafting ammo by displaying a full capacity with green text, and only using red for an empty ammo icon. Since the game has a satchel crafting component, I can understand why someone would choose to warn you that this is a bad situation, and you should go out to hunt and craft extra space for more ammo. But this isn't the right place to do that. This is the place to tell you whether or not you're fully equipped for a fight. The last piece of in-game UI is the augmented reality view, and I have to say I'm a big fan of this system. Aloy can use her gadget called the Focus to overlay this AR view onto the game's world. The system itself works a lot like Witcher Sense in The Witcher 3 or detective view in the Batman Arkham games. It's used to examine your environment and to find clues when you're investigating something. It also helps you identify weak spots on machines and help track their walking paths. This is one of the most seamlessly integrated interfaces in Horizon. It makes hunting so much more enjoyable as it helps you stalk your prey, figuring out how you're gonna strike. The AR aspect increases immersion, as they also use it to label lootable objects such as plants or machines, and even display English text over tribal writing. I almost wish they'd have used it more. Once you press the trackpad on the PS4 controller, you enter a menu system that's quite standard for RPGs. It's very similar in its construction to The Witcher's in many ways, but then again, it's much worse in others. It consists of skills, inventory, crafting, map, quests, and notebook. I'll go through these in a bit of detail. The skills menu contains the standard skill trees. You have 3 of them for the different types of gameplay. Basically stealth, combat, and crafting/gathering. Generally, this page is pretty great. I like how you have a video preview of the skills. The descriptions are short and to the point, and I could usually make up my mind quite quickly. This is good, as they manage to lower your mental load in a choice situation where you could be faced with choosing from up to 10 skills, depending on how many points you can spend. The one thing that I would point out is again to do with colors. While the orange-like colors fit the fighting trees profile quite well, I feel like the purple one would have fit the stealth trees better, as it's often associated with shadows, darkness, shadiness, and the nighttime. Just think of Overwatch's Widowmaker, Waluigi, or even the Night Elves. Same goes for the gathering/crafting skill tree. As it has to do with nature, collecting flowers, looting, and roaming around, a light green color would have fit the brief quite well. This small change could add to the perceived value of the player's choice. If I go for the purple feeling side, it might manifest itself in my playstyle, sticking more to the shadows, approaching combat with stealth, etc. The next tab is the inventory, and this one is a big one. So much so that I can't fit it all into this video, so I've made another video analyzing and fixing just the inventory. But in short, the samey, simplistic icons make it really hard for you to differentiate between your items, and the resources tab that holds nearly all of your loot is very badly organized and ruins half of the experience of looting in the first place. The next page is crafting. This is where you would come to equip mods in your weapons and clothes, craft potions and traps, increase your carrying capacity, and if you really want to do it here, you can also craft ammo. Although I've never found a good reason to do so, as I can do it on the fly via the weapons selection wheel. Regardless, the crafting screen is overall okay. Filling the weapon and clothes slots with mods is very intuitive and satisfying. The same goes for ammo and traps, but I'm not as big a fan of the pouch crafting. You can increase the carrying capacity for your different types of items separately, and they all require different resources, even for the different sizes of the same pouch. The icons they use here are quite hard to differentiate, and they don't even tell you your carrying capacity straight away. You need to select them separately to see if you can craft a new upgrade to them, and to understand what that translates to. I found this to be more of a hassle, if anything. The last interesting bit here is the fact that you have a separate section for the fast travel packs. On one side, this could be a cheap gimmick to artificially increase the stuff you have to do to get around more quickly, but at the same time it increases immersion, as just like in real life, you have to be thoroughly prepared before taking on a long journey. This is one of the better solutions for fast travel that I've seen from a game design standpoint. Going on to the map, I don't have much to say about it, but that's a good thing. Icons are great, colors are on spot, and clutter is avoided very well. There's a subtle cool thing that I've noticed. The actual visuals of the map seem to be this 2.5 dimensional landscape that very slowly changes perspective as you hover across it. It's pretty cool. Now, I'm a very big fan of the quests layout. I like how they're not just thrown into a big pile of all of your quests. Instead, you have a main and a side quest section, and even further down, you have errands. I love that they call them what they are. With the simple design choice of using a seemingly pejorative adjective, they've just gained the player's trust by delivering exactly what they promise. An errand is an errand. It becomes very easy for the player to avoid tedious quests and focus on the more interesting ones, if they choose so. There are 6 further sub-menus showing your progress and tasks. I like how some of them just display things that you've completed. In a game that is often about ticking boxes, it's very helpful to see the boxes you've already ticked. And finally, the notebook. This menu is a joy to look at. You can browse the machines you've discovered, examining their weak points, capabilities, and potential loot. This is the sort of function that could have been included in the loading screen that I've mentioned in the beginning of the video. This bestiary is a great tool for the hunter in Aloy. And for the gatherer, there's the collectibles section. Broken down into sets, you can browse all the special goodies you can find scattered around the world. This screen does a better job at displaying these than the special item submenu in the inventory tab. It actually makes it redundant. I can also appreciate having the data points on a separate tab. In essence, they're collectibles, but there's just so many of them that it's easier if they have their own shelf. Overall, Horizon does a good job with its user interfaces and interaction design, with a few hiccups around the inventory and iconography. On one side, it's really good that the typefaces and 2D art are so coherent and standardized across all menus and interfaces, but on the other end, they sacrifice some usability and functionality in the name of staying visually coherent, especially when it comes to the inventory. And that would be all of the UI in Horizon Zero Dawn. I would like to thank you very much for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out part 2, where I go in depth into the inventory system and try to fix it with a few prototypes of my own.